She was last seen around 2 this morning and left with her boyfriend, 23-year-old Micey Stiver. He is 5'8", 170 pounds with black hair and blue eyes. His photo is on the screen now. They are believed to be in a gray 2012 Ford Focus with license plate N697141. We have all of this information on WKYC.com for you. If you have any information, please do call police.
And with that, we welcome you to What's New. Thanks so much for choosing our program. With Betsy Kling, I'm Jay Crawford. Great to be with you again. Betsy, very good Tuesday afternoon to you and to everyone watching at home.
You too. We got a lot going on today as far as the news goes. Matt's got a complete update as far as the weather goes, just in a couple minutes for us.
All right, we'll look forward to that. In the meantime, we begin today at 5. For weeks, students across Florida have been marching, making their opposition clear to the Parental Rights in Education bill there, or what opponents have labeled the Don't Say Gay law. Now, a pair of Ohio Republican lawmakers are introducing a similar bill with some differences in the proposal. Isabel Lawrence joins us now from the newsroom to break down where the Buckeye State's legislation stands and how it could impact students in our state if passed. Isabel, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jay. A law professor I spoke to summed it up this way. Ohio House Bill 616 essentially prohibits the discussion of gender identity or sexual orientation for young students and puts restrictions on those subjects for older students. He also said there are provisions that prohibit teaching divisive concepts, potentially things like racial and diversity issues. So to really get into the specifics for you here, Ohio House Bill 616 says that some schools can't, quote, teach, use, or provide any curriculum or instructional materials on sexual orientation or gender identity to students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. And then for 4th through 12th grade, they can't teach or provide materials on sexual orientation or gender identity that are not, quote, age appropriate or developmentally appropriate. Now, the bill also says materials can't be used that promote any divisive or inherently racist concept.
So if this bill were to pass, I would expect a lot of teachers and school districts would be quite concerned about what they are allowed to do under this law, and they might simply avoid touching on important issues that are part of the curriculum as it is developed over the years in many places.
Now, I also spoke with the president of the Cleveland Teachers Union. She says this bill makes it harder for teachers to form relationships with students and families. That's not good when she says we are already facing an impending teacher shortage. Plus, the LGBT Community Center of Greater Cleveland says language in this bill is a bit of a slippery slope as to what exactly counts as, quote, developmentally appropriate. Now, I did reach out to Representatives Gene Schmidt and Mike Loychik, who introduced this bill. I did not hear back. Also important to note, this bill was introduced today. It would still need to move forward to a vote to pass.
All right, I'm sure we'll continue to follow it. Isabel Lawrence, live from the newsroom. Isabel, thanks.
We have new video tonight from Ohio State Highway Patrol showing a chaotic, high-speed chase spanning miles across different counties following the death of a Bluffton police officer. Lydia Sparra joins us now from the newsroom with more on this dash cam video. And Lydia, this is the series of events that involve the suspects eventually charged in the death of Officer Dominic Francis's death last week. Good evening to you, Lydia.
And good evening to you, Betsy. You're right. It does involve that fallen officer. As you said, the video is compelling, overwhelming, and it was all caught on tape. Take a listen.
Take him out!
And you can hear officers yelling at each other to stop him as he headed 71 north. Then he makes a U-turn and heads back south. He gets off at Howe Road near the Strongsville Mall. Still at a high-speed chase, fleeing down 82 West, weaving in and out of traffic down 82. It continued to Route 57 in Elyria, just past Chestnut Ridge Road, where officers again attempted to stop the suspect, where they finally do stop him. And there you see, arrest him. And there is more compelling video, which we'll break down at What's Next at 11 and also tonight at 6. And meanwhile, Betsy, Officer Francis, as you mentioned, will be laid to rest on Friday.
All right. Thanks so much, Lydia. We turn now to the conflict in Ukraine, and the Biden administration is set to announce new sanctions against Russia tomorrow. The sanctions package was organized in coordination with the G7 and the EU because the new evidence that Russia is committing war crimes. The U.S. will ban all new investment in Russia and increase sanctions on financial institutions, state-owned enterprises, government officials, and their family members. This as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the United Nations Security Council, pressing for Russia to be removed.
Where is the security that the Security Council needs to guarantee? It's not there.
Also today, the top general in the U.S. told the House Armed Services Committee that Russia's war in Ukraine will likely last for years.
Now on your feet at 5. Since the pandemic, many people have been spending more time and money beautifying their homes and lawns. But the escalating costs of many of the materials, wood and fertilizer in particular, are becoming unaffordable for many right before gardening season is to begin here in Ohio. Billy Heron from Bremick Garden Centers in Chesterland said one of the things he's noticed this year is people are struggling with budgets, and fertilizer is one of the big items that has seen a huge surge in cost recently.
Shipping is going to be the #1 thing for a lot of products. Anything with plastic and petroleum in there, those have gone up as well. And then with fertilizers, especially, there's actually a process that uses a lot of fossil fuels with it. So just like everything else in the world, the prices are going up as well.
Yeah, but the prices are high, and there's one big reason for the huge increase. The big reason is the fact that Russia's invasion of Ukraine has shut down two of the world's largest exporters of fertilizer. Russia exports more than $9 billion of fertilizer annually. They are #1 in the world in exports. Ukraine is also among the top exporters. The price of fertilizer here in the U.S. is up 40% in just the past month.
Get the old compost pile going again. Well, good news for those still needing to pay off student loan debt. The Biden administration plans to freeze federal student loan payments again, this time through August 31st. Now, this is extending the pandemic moratorium that President Trump put into place just 2 years ago. It's already been extended 4 times and was supposed to end on May 1st. And boy, don't we remember lines like this, something we were getting used to seeing around here, even sitting in for many of us as people waited for sometimes hours to get their COVID vaccine. Well, today that once familiar sight returned as Summit County fired up their drive-through vaccine clinic again, but just for today.
So why did they bother when we're seeing such low levels of virus circulating here in Northeast Ohio? Not just here in Northeast Ohio, but really in the United States. Well, for that, we turn to senior health correspondent Monica Robbins. She joins us now to explain. Good afternoon, Monica.
Hi, guys. Yeah, vaccines back in the news, of course. So that always causes an uptick. So since the CDC changed the booster guidelines, Summit County's health commissioner says they've seen an uptick in walk-in appointments. So they decided to do the drive-through because, you know what, it's just more convenient for people. And they're going to do a few more of these in the coming weeks. Now, I know that changing vaccine guidance can be really confusing, but it's important to understand boosters are not uncommon when it comes to vaccines. Both vaccine and natural protection wanes over time. And even though there are fewer cases right now, there is still a mutating virus out there and a vaccine that can protect you from it, especially if you're vulnerable.
Because we now have enough clinical data to know that this group could possibly have their immunity start to drop. And folks say, well, you know, there isn't much COVID around, why should I care? Because you're vulnerable, and that's why you may have a chronic disease, you might be advanced age, you could have some underlying health condition. You need to make sure you protect yourself at all times.
And SCOTUS says those who are vaccinated have a 93% chance to not get severe disease, end up in the hospital, or die. Even for Omicron, that can still infect those who've been vaccinated. The vaccine, remember, is meant to prevent severe disease, not infection. And I think a lot of people still get that confused.
So then who should be getting the boost, the 4th dose?
$1 million question. So vaccine protection, remember, tends to wane. So if you are over 50 and your last booster dose was 4 months ago, and maybe you have a chronic disease, you definitely need to get boosted. 40% of COVID deaths happen to diabetics, and even higher among those with high blood pressure. Now, if you care for a vulnerable person at home, such as maybe elderly parents or babies who can't be vaccinated yet, you should also get boosted. Now, if you're not sure about whether or not you need to do this, talk to your doctor and pay attention to the news, because I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to see some jumps. Sure. Memorial Day, about a week or two after, we're going to see some case jumps. 4th of July, again, it's like clockwork. We can see it coming. Right. The hope is, though, as this virus continues to mutate, as I said the other day, with XE, we're hoping that it's not causing severe disease. It may be more transmissible, but if it's not causing severe disease, that's just a good thing for all of us.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Thank you, Monica. Sure. Great information. Well, we have some good news this afternoon for Cedar Point fans. With just a few weeks away now until the park opens for the 2022 season, there is once again a new pass option for just $99. Cedar Point is calling this the Summer Pass. It gives guests unlimited visits and free parking through Labor Day. Of course, the park has other passes like the Gold Pass, the Fast Lane Pass, and the Platinum Pass. All three of those offer different and more deals, but come at a steeper price. We have that full breakdown on our website, WKYC.com.
That season is right around the corner.
It's coming.
Next on What's New, it's being called the biggest rocket deal in the commercial space industry's history. The massive move Amazon made today. That's coming up in our Tech Tuesday.
Then, who would have thought a rapper would have a show on HGTV? Lil Jon is making it happen. We have a first look. It's coming up in our Tuesday Pop Break.
And as usual, the weather is all about location, 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 Matt.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people that are working here at the studio, drove in. It was 65 degrees or so. They come in and it's 40 here at the lakefront. If you're visiting the lakeshore here this evening, we have a stout lake breeze, so keep that in mind with your patio forecast. We do have rain moving in from the south as expected. That will overspread the area as well. But if you're downtown, we look good through about the 8 or 9 o'clock hour. We'll talk about that rain and a very active forecast that features up and down temperatures. We've got it all for you, including this live shot of the clouds moving in downtown, coming up after the break.
All right, it is Tech Tuesday, and we have an update for you. If you got any of those weird text messages, the ones that look like they're coming to you from your own number, like you're texting.
I didn't get any of those. Did you get any?
I didn't. No, there were only, I think, Verizon customers is what I seem to remember people saying, and not all of them.
Okay, yeah, because I have Verizon. I didn't get any. The scam was making the rounds across cell phones nationwide. We first told you about this last week. The text came with the message saying that your bill is paid, so here's a gift for you. Phone carrier Verizon says it blocked the culprit, targeting customers. And even though some reported that the link redirected users to the Russian news agency Channel 1, Verizon says there's no sign of any Russian involvement. It was just a group of bad actors.
All right, well, this is some cool stuff. Today, Amazon announced it is moving forward with launching internet satellites into space, signing a deal with 3 major firms to make it happen. CNBC reports the tech giant signed contracts with United Launch Alliance, Ariane Space, a European company, and Blue Origin, with each ideally sending a different amount of launches. This is all part of Amazon's Project Kuiper to plan to build a network of more than 3,000 satellites in low Earth orbit. This would provide internet to anywhere in the world. Wow, 3,000 low Earth orbit satellites, because we don't have enough going on up there.
Does that sound familiar to you as you're reading that story? If it sounds familiar to you at home, that's because that's an awful lot like what Elon Musk has already done with his Starlink satellite system. And it's fun. So the space wars used to be like Russia versus China versus the U.S. Now it's privatized between billionaires like Bezos and Musk. And it's fun to watch these billionaires fight to spend billions of dollars to feed their egos, essentially.
And meanwhile, there's, how many agencies around the globe that are trying to watch and track and see what all these different little satellites are doing, and if there's anything malicious that's happening, and,
it's insane.
It's a hot mess up there in space.
It is.
Low Earth orbit is not the place to be, Matt Wentz. Thankfully, all the weather satellites are floating 22,000 plus miles above us, so they're kind of out of that low Earth orbit sink.
Yep, you're right. I was just waiting on the camera to swing around. I was a little late today, to be honest.
It's tired. We've been overworking that camera a lot, I'm telling you. So this is the biggest solid I've ever done for you with Weather Words.
I doubt it.
Off of that last story, it's satellite. Now, if you can't fit that into your weather forecast, you're a rookie.
It's a label on our graphics. This will be a breeze. Thanks, Jay.
You probably fit that in there 4 or 5 times.
Here's my question. How many times can you fit it in there? Now it becomes a new game.
Yeah, let's not play that game, Betsy. I still got a forecast to give.
Ding.
Great idea, though. Maybe for another show.
Ding.
How about this stout lake breeze today? It only impacts us near the lakeshore. The rest of you are like, oh, it's such a nice spring-like day. And it was, even inland. But look at temperatures today. We were up near 60 in spots, upper 50s for some. But you notice the cooling near the lakeshore. Pretty stout. We go from about 55 to 40 in a couple miles there, and that's due to our northeast wind. And if you look at the lakes, look at all the blue that you see outlining the lakes. It's like my 6-year-old took a crayon and kind of colored in all the lakes. That's lake breeze season. Wherever the wind is blowing, you tend to get that cooling effect as that cold air expands, and that's certainly what we're seeing. What we're also seeing, though, is some rain moving in from the south. You've noticed the clouds have thickened up throughout the day. Coming down pretty good areas of Tuscarawas County now, New Philadelphia up towards Dover. This will head into the Canton area within the next hour. Millersburg seeing rain. Worcester, that's got your name on it next. Live look here, O.cam. And this has changed over the last half hour. Wet streets down in New Philadelphia now, and that's going to expand northward, but we're not expecting a good push of this. There's some dry air. It's working into it. Big picture, we've got severe weather ongoing across the southeast. We get a little lobe off that system that'll move through tonight. Then you look off towards the north and the west. Good news is we're keeping the warm air in here. You can see the Canadian air has been really shut down, but we're saying it's a little change in the forecast, and we've been highlighting this last couple days. Notice all the swirls going up here in the upper Midwest. Tomorrow's afternoon rain comes in with this, and then the Thursday, Friday, Saturday swirl, we're going to call it, moving in from the northwest. As you look at that satellite picture, you see some of those clouds. That was real tough, Jay, as they move in. You notice as we go through time tonight, showers kind of fade as they move in, but again, late evening showers for the Cleveland-Akron area. Eventually, everything will kind of fizzle out. Tomorrow will start very similar to today. I think a mix of clouds and some sunshine. Another beauty tomorrow. We're up into the mid and upper 60s tomorrow. Beautiful until later in the day. Here comes that frontal boundary, some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. This will push through in the evening hours, will eventually clear things out. Not much colder behind it, but this is a pattern that we're going to set up. You notice the sunshine to start Thursday. Watch what happens this afternoon. We get cold air aloft. Boom, everything kind of erupts like a checkerboard there with all the spotty showers. That's going to be the pattern, not just Thursday, but Friday and Saturday as well. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. We get colder as that cold air comes in. It'll eventually mix with some snow on Saturday, and then we bounce back 70 by next Tuesday. We'll be back after this.
We are talking Lil Jon, and yeah, okay.
Welcome back to What's New. It is time for our Tuesday Pop Break.
And from the stars tying the knot to a boy band reunion to rapper Lil Jon to getting into the TV biz, Kara Cotton has it all in today's Pop Break.
Rapper and entrepreneur Lil Jon is helping homeowners find their wild side. On HGTV's newest show, Lil Jon teams up with expert builder Anita McCaden to tackle unconventional home renovations. Together, the two will help people who are trapped inside boring homes envision creative changes and bring them to life. And hopefully, the homeowners say, yeah! Lil Jon Wants to Do What is set to premiere on May 2nd at 10 p.m. And let's hear it from Mr. and Mrs. Travis Barker. That's right, reality TV star Kourtney Kardashian and Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker are officially married. According to reports, the couple wed in a surprise ceremony early Monday morning in Las Vegas. And they got the full experience. The couple said "I do" with the help of an Elvis Presley impersonator as the officiant. Kourtney and Travis have been dating since late 2020. And I don't think boy bands will ever go out of style, but even if they do, the OGs are making sure it doesn't happen anytime soon. I caught up with founding member of 98 Degrees, Jeff Timmons, and we talked about his life now, his 25 years in the music business, and his Northeast Ohio tour stop this July. Timmons, AJ McLean from Backstreet Boys, Trevor Pennick from O-Town, and even more special guests will perform live at Centennial Plaza in Canton on July 9th as a part of the Total Rewind tour.
There are just so many hits between the three groups, that people have some familiarity with what we're performing and sing along with us, which is, very fortunate for us to have that going on too.
Tickets for the show are on sale now, and you can see more of my interview with Timmons up now on WKYC.com.
And last but not least, this is just a fun tidbit. Bill Nye, the science guy, says he'd be ready to go to space in a heartbeat. And Jay and Betsy, I just feel like if anyone deserves to go to space, why not Bill Nye?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? I mean, He taught so many of us little tidbits, fun tidbits about science. Send them to the moon.
Yep.
Or at least to space.
I'm fine with that.
Thanks, Key. Appreciate it. All right, right now it's time for our Worth the Watch. This black lab was ready to come inside. And, well, let's just say the pup has no patience. Watch.
Wow.
Yeah, smart dog, man. He knows it's there, the doorbell, and he knows that's the key to get back inside. It's incredible the things that dogs can learn. And that one knows when he wants to come inside, just ring the doorbell.
There's a lot of people that I've heard that have like the bells on the inside of the door that the dog will go and jingle to go outside.
Yes, but I've never seen this.
This is the flip.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Let me in now.
You may come and get me, thank you.
Brilliant. What a beautiful animal, too.
So sweet.
Worth the watch.
Well, still ahead for us here on What's New. How does a 4-day work week every week sound? Some companies are making it happen. We're going to talk about how coming up.
Plus, would he? Could he? Hear from Tiger Woods on his return to golf as the Masters is set to tee off in 2 days.
And ranking Cleveland's sports songs. Mike Polk Jr. has his take on the new Guardians team song compared to past Indians versions. That's all ahead at 5:30.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And it's time for our 3 top stories at the bottom of the hour. The Ohio legislature has introduced a bill that's modeled after Florida's recently passed piece of legislation that prohibits classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Under Ohio's proposed bill, any public school, community school, STEM school, or private school that accepts vouchers shall not teach, use, or provide any curriculum or instructional materials on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through 3rd grade.
And we're also talking about another extension. The Biden administration plans to freeze federal student loan payments that were set to resume on May 1st. Now the pause will continue through August 31st, extending the moratorium, the pandemic moratorium that President Trump put into place 2 years ago. It's already been extended 4 times, and it does impact about 43 million Americans.
And great news for the golf world today. Nearly 14 months after a brutal car crash, golf legend Tiger Woods announcing a comeback, telling the world he's back.
As of right now, I feel like I am going to play. Well, I can hit it just fine, and I don't have any qualms about what I can do physically from a golf standpoint.
Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue will be the walking that he needs to put under his belt in the 4 rounds there. Surgeries were just really decimated his leg. Now he has stabilizing rods, pins, and screws in the leg. His swing may not be his biggest concern. As I mentioned, he's going to have to walk 4 miles with dramatic changes in elevation there at Augusta National for 4 days in a row should he make the cut to play in the weekend on that surgically repaired leg. He is scheduled to tee off just before 11 Thursday morning. Quite a remarkable comeback from where he was just a little over a year ago. And it's somewhat of a controversy, Betsy. I find this so intriguing. Eagle-eyed observers noticed that when Tiger was playing his practice rounds at Augusta National, he was not wearing his traditional Nike golf spikes.
Really?
He was instead wearing FootJoy. And he was asked about it, and he said, look, this is a matter of necessity right now. FootJoy has the technology that allows me to walk these elevation changes in the 4 miles daily, where Nike is, quote, still working on theirs.
Wow.
So it's kind of a slap to his own brand, but you got to wear what you got to wear when you're in this situation. So he's going to be wearing FootJoy spikes.
He can't exactly get away with, like, scratching out the name and permanent marker.
Probably not.
Like a lot of us try to do. It doesn't always work.
Yeah, that definitely won't get it done. So welcome back to the second half hour of What's New, along with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. And just for you, Bets.
I know you wore pink.
I wore the pink. You asked yesterday, and I figured if they're doing it at the Grammys and you requested it, I broke out one of the pink shirts today.
You got a lot of colors happening
I do. I figured that I didn't want to go overboard with the pink, so I muted it down with a gray and a blue and just blended it all together. Just for you, Bets.
Thanks, Jay.
Just for you.
I like it, definitely.
Okay. Very good.
Well, let's move on to our top talker. For some companies, clocking fewer hours may mean a more productive workforce. Have you heard about this? Employers are inventing new ways to recruit and hire and keep qualified workers, even if it means requiring them to work less. New York-based online clothing company Primary is joining the growing ranks of businesses now offering a flexible 4-day work week. The company made the switch in 2020 without reducing pay. The company's CEO says it has helped to boost morale and its bottom line.
It was important to us to give people back time so that they could truly recharge, so that when they come back to work on Monday, they are really ready for the week.
We've had amazing success retaining talent on the team, and I think that the 4-day work week is a part of that.
And we have tried to talk to our bosses time and time again.
We have?
To say, look, we really should just skip Fridays.
Go Thursday to Saturday?
Just go.
Add Friday to our weekend.
Go Monday to Thursday.
Yeah, well, I'm down with that. I think most workers would be down with that. I got to tell you, though. No, not yet, but I have to tell you, and I'm not predicting any changes here at Channel 3, but what I am seeing is, and I've read a couple of pieces on this today because I knew we were going to be discussing it, one company after another said one key thing that has changed their workforce's mental outlook, and it is retaining talent. And when you go to recruit talent, they're finding that when they mention the 3-day off and 4-day work week, it's easier to close deals.
Well, yeah.
What is one of the biggest issues that is facing our country right now?
Getting people to work.
Getting people in the door.
Yeah.
And so I think we're seeing slowly a shift that's going to go more and more to a 4-day work week. And the companies that don't are going to have a harder time recruiting talent and retaining talent. So it could be a major change coming down the pipe.
I'd be interested to see how many of those same companies are also doing 4-day work week and remote work, or if it's kind of a hybrid. Like, is it all 4 days in the office? Is it 3 days in the office or 1 day at home?
I would think it's 4 days working, 3 days off.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really specify that there were 4 work days in office and 1 remote day at home. So who knows?
Get
Maybe
it in
coming
writing.
soon.
Get it in writing.
All right, next week, Cleveland will welcome a new era in baseball. That's when they have their first home opener as the Cleveland Guardians. The team released a new song last week to mixed reviews to start building the excitement. But with many fans divided, Mike Polk Jr. has decided that he needs to listen and give us his take. And he also takes a look back at how this song compares to some of the other classic Cleveland baseball songs of the past. Take a look.
Howdy, folks. Last week, the Cleveland Guardians released their new theme song entitled We Are Cleveland. It was produced and performed by local artists right here in town, and it is to be used as the Guardians' new in-park soundtrack. Let's take a listen and see if I'm feeling it. Nope, don't like it. That doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. Maybe it's good. It just doesn't do it for me. And to be fair, most new music sounds pretty terrible to me because I'm old. I don't understand popular trends, fashion, technology, social media, etc. So why should music be any different? And if you think about it, the people who were commissioned to create this song were given a truly daunting task. The Guardians essentially said to them, okay, so we just infuriated many of our fans by changing our team's name, so what we need you to do is make a song that appeals to all generations of fans, brings everyone together, and inspires them to love the Guardians. Good luck. Clearly a tall order to begin with, but no matter what they came up with, it was bound to have detractors because it represents change, and most people don't like change, particularly avid baseball fans, and that extends even to their pump-up songs. So what are these classic team songs that we're now being forced to leave behind that were so much better than this recent number? Let's listen to a bit of Tribe Time Now, which has been the official team song since 2006.
Come on, Indians, time to show them what we're all about.
Wow, killer jam. What a shame we don't get to hear that anymore. I can see why people are upset. How about this one? My personal favorite classic Tribe song, Indian Fever.
Indian fever, it's catching fire with everyone.
I admit I love this one, but not because it's a good song, it's musically terrible. I love it, of course, because of the nostalgic aspect. I grew up with this song, and even though it technically stinks and the music sounds like it should be in a vintage grocery store commercial, I still have a positive association with it because it reminds me of pleasant times. Finally, how about this song that used to be used to introduce Tribe games on Channel 43 back in the day? Talkin' Tribe.
Who's talking baseball? Talking Tribe.
Now that's a hometown song that will be forever associated with Cleveland, right? Well, allow me to ruin that for you.
Who plays the Royals? Channel 4.
That's right, we were all deceived. Turns out we weren't special. Some jingle company was just using that same tune, switching up the words a bit, and cranking out sound-alike promo songs for other teams, and a divisional rival to boot. So say what you will about We Are Cleveland, but at least it was actually made in Cleveland by Clevelanders, and there's something to be said for that. And I give the team and the musicians credit for their effort, and would like to remind everyone not to judge the results too harshly, because if you're being honest, the bar wasn't really that high to begin with.
Indian fever, each game is a brand new beginning.
I still like it though. This is Mike Polk, batting about .225 for 3 News.
So many people do identify memories with songs. You hear it and you go, oh my gosh, you should have heard Jay. Oh, that's the one.
That's it.
That's
Indian
one.
Fever,
and Matt
baby.
jumps up when he hears the one about talking Tribe Time or whatever.
Yeah, that one strikes a chord with me too.
It does. The one thing they did get right, Welshly Arms is a Cleveland band.
Sure.
I'm very appreciative
And it had to be that way.
that they used Welshly Arms because I think
Yeah.
they're a good band too.
It had to be a Cleveland band, and why not them?
Right.
I think he's so right about because as you listen to musically, those songs were terrible, but they take us back to being a teenager and the excitement of watching a game on TV. Bets when I was young. Not every game was on TV.
Tell us about it, Pappy Jay.
Yeah, so when a game was on TV, it was a huge deal, and my excitement level was a 10.
Sure.
I would wake up on that morning and say, I get to watch the Indians tonight.
Right.
It was a special treat, and when you hear that song, it takes me right back to that feeling. So my hope is in time, that song, which we played last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and we both, I think, gave it kind of tepid thumbs up.
Okay.
As I've heard it more and more, I'm like, no, that's not it. but maybe 10 years from now, that will be it. We have to give it a chance.
It's still background music. Like you'll hear it a lot, but it does become background music as you're at the ballpark and whatnot.
I used to make fun of Penn State because we are Penn State. Well, why do you have to remind people? And now we are Guardians.
Yeah. We do need to remind people. We're going to need the Indian swear jar in the newsroom, and every time you mess up and say Indians instead of Guardians, drop a quarter in.
I'll be broke by July 4th.
We'll have a great party at the end of summer. Hey, next up for us, we are talking about the YWCA Stand Against Racism Challenge. January Keaton explains how you can take part.
Then Hamilton returns to Playhouse Square, how long you have to wait so you don't throw away your shot.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, see what I did there. And Matt's back with his weather in a jiffy.
Yeah, guys, after 30s and 40s over the weekend and just kind of that long stretch that we've had, I think we're all feeling this way about the 50s and 60s today. Looking out the window, that's it, finally. We have more to come. We've got your forecast next.
Alrighty, it is 5:43. We saw murky skies in downtown Cleveland, and they're getting a little murky in our far southern counties, but there's still a little sweet spot in between where it's still a nice day.
Yeah, it's interesting. The murkiness is kind of combining now. As the system moves in from the south. It was super foggy near the lakeshore this morning. A lot of folks didn't know about that, but we had dense fog out over the lake that kind of eked inland over the course of the day today. And now we've got the dense clouds and some rain coming in from the south. So if you have evening plans, we'll get time this out for you, but you can see pretty decent dose of rain. This is light to moderate, even heavy at times, heading in to southern Stark County now. The heaviest is now pushed through New Philly up towards Dover now, Beach City, Canton, eventually Massillon getting wet here. That stretches out towards the west as well. Timing this out, it looks like around the Akron area, around 6:30, you can expect those raindrops to start falling. Mansfield, not too long from now, up towards Cuyahoga Falls, the Hudson area thereafter from the 6:30 hour, eventually getting into the Cleveland area after 7. But I don't know if it makes it. You can see the bigger structure here. We've got severe weather on going down to the south. Northern end of this, though, a lot of this heading into dry air, so this area of rain that we have is going to kind of shrivel in coverage as we go throughout the evening hours. Out towards the west, this is our Wednesday rainmaker that'll head in tomorrow later in the day. I think we have a beautiful day tomorrow up until afternoon around this time when that rain moves in. And then this low is just going to sit and spin over the eastern half of the country with cold air aloft over the weekend. But we'll break out of that. We're in the mild air now. We've got another mild day tomorrow. You look at temperatures. Look at this. Dallas had severe weather yesterday. You think that'd be with a frontal boundary? No, they're up to 90 today. There's going to be renewed severe weather threat tomorrow in areas that are seeing it today down towards the south. For us, not expecting severe weather, but we will have some rain and perhaps some rumbles with the system tomorrow. National Design hour-by-hour forecast. You know how the rain kind of fades tonight. We're dealing with just cloudy skies after midnight. Perhaps more fog tomorrow morning as well. You notice the clouds and sun. Beautiful lunch hour tomorrow. We're up into the 60s for that lunch hour. It will be breezy out of the south. Here comes that rain and thunder chance later in the day. Eventually that will clear things out tomorrow evening, setting us up for a nice start to Thursday, but not a very great end, as that cold air aloft will trigger some popcorn-like showers on the radar Thursday afternoon. Bigger picture, this low is going to take up some residency in the Great Lakes over the course of not just Thursday, but Friday. You see most of it driven in the afternoon with that heating. Saturday, a little rain and snow perhaps, was that cold core of air settles over us. Eventually we clear that thing out of here and we warm up next week. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast, we do the steps down and then we do the steps up. That's how it goes this time of year. But it does look like we'll break out of this nice spring-like pattern next week. Jay?
All right, Matt, thank you very much. The YWCA wants you to challenge yourself to help create a world free of racism. The organization's annual Stand Against Racism Challenge is now in its 4th year. This year, the focus is raising awareness of institutional and structural racism, and they invite you to join in on the fight. Here's January Keaton with tonight's Education Station.
YWCA's Stand Against Racism Challenge was developed 4 years ago by the Greater Cleveland chapter and adapted nationwide.
You can take this challenge with your coworkers, you can take this challenge with your friends, faith groups, book clubs.
Participants would attend virtual events about the myriad of racial justice issues that impact the quality of life for communities of color. Allied groups like Tri-C, Highland, and Medical Mutual think the challenge is so worthwhile, they've asked employees to participate. This year's challenge highlights 4 main topics.
We are providing 21 days of content on critical race theory, reproductive justice, living wage, and film and television.
Be it reading an article, listening to a podcast, or reflecting on personal experiences, YWCA wants participants to connect with each other through these topics and identify ways to dismantle racism and other forms of discrimination.
A lot of these topics can be considered very controversial. They've been very politicized, but in all honesty, this is talking about people's lives.
More than 150 years after the abolishment of slavery in the U.S., most American adults say its legacy can still be felt in our nation today. Using stats from 5 polls conducted between 2008 and 2021, Pew Research found that 84% of Black and 72% of Hispanic respondents were more likely to say racism is widespread in America, compared to 59% of white respondents who were less likely to believe it is. And in 2022, some exciting new changes to the challenge.
This year is the first year of our partnership with YWCA USA, and we've been able to create an app for your phone. We have also added a Spanish language version,
offering folks of all walks of life an easier way to dive deep into racial equity and social justice and help create a world that sees people of color as equal.
January thanks. Since launching in 2019, YWCA has had over 30,000 participants in 2,600 different zip codes across the United States take the Stand Against Racism Challenge. This year's challenge starts today and it runs through April 25th. And to find out how you can participate, you can go to our website at WKYC.com.
Coming up for us, what is in a name? We'll tell you some of the most popular baby names in Ohio this year. It's one of the stories that's clicking in Cleveland.
And Tom Hanks, if you're watching, we have a story for you. It's our Show Us Something Good.
Mike check. What's clicking in Cleveland is what the Cavs can do to skip the play-in games in that tournament.
Okay, time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. I believe Betsy teased going into the break something about popular baby names this year. That caught my attention. Stephanie Haney, what do you got?
That is right, Jay. Names.org is predicting the top baby names for 2022 based on birth data from the Social Security Administration. And none of us here on the What's New crew are in the top picks in Ohio. Probably because our names are so unique. Probably not. But the top 5 masculine names in Ohio this year are expected to be Oliver, Liam, Noah, James, and William. And the top 5 feminine names in Ohio, the first one is actually similar to the masculine one. It's Olivia, then Amelia, Charlotte, Ava, and Sophia. We break it down more on WKYC.com. We have the top 10 for each, so you can head to the website to check that out. Now, this is good news for theater lovers. Hamilton is coming back to Cleveland with 48 shows at the Key Bank State Theater. That'll be from December 6th through January 15th. Now, tickets are not on sale yet, but next week, Playhouse Square's new 2022-23 Key Bank Broadway series lineup will be revealed, and Hamilton is not part of that package, but season ticket holders will get special access to buy tickets to Hamilton before anyone else. So if you're on the edge, think about that. Okay, let's take a look at the Cleveland Cavaliers playoff picture now, because with 3 regular seasons games left, right now the Cavaliers are guaranteed a spot in the play-in tournament to advance. But there is a chance that they could skip that. If the Cavs win these last 3 games against Orlando, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee, and the Toronto Raptors lose 3 of their 4 remaining games against Atlanta, Philly, Houston, and the Knicks, then the Cavs can go straight to the playoffs starting on April 16th. Now, if those things don't happen, Jay and Betsy, and the Cavs do go to that play-in tournament, we'd be hoping for them to get that home court advantage. That would be right here if they can keep the 7th seed, which is where they're sitting right now. So hopefully they don't do any worse than they've been doing.
I was just checking out the standings in the Eastern Conference. I can't remember a year where it was this tight.
Really?
Really, the difference between the first team and the 8th team is astonishing. It's really packed in there. And what that means is if you just get in, you do have a chance. Unlike most years, the difference between 1 and 8 is 15, 20 games.
Yeah.
Not this year. Get in, and you could make some noise.
They have been a Cinderella team this year. Such a great
Wouldn't that be
surprise.
something?
And boy, aren't we just so proud of them. So let's go Cavs.
Yes.
Go Cavs. All right, next, one local nursing home has a big plea and is getting creative for the request. We'll show you that coming up.
Then on 3 News at 6, staffing changes on the horizon. What a new resignation announced today means for Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Our Mark Namick breaks down Robert Kennedy's decision.
Here you go. Gotcha. You got me? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm here. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Oh, okay.
Hey Al, I'm here. I will face the camera and make it easy. All right.
I am so touched. You want to
Our show is Something Good this week comes from the Independence Village Assisted Living Facility in Avon Lake. This is amazing. They recreated Tom Hanks' famous movie Castaway on TikTok as an effort to reconnect their resident Jane with Tom Hanks when he's in town for the Guardians home opener next week. Now, 32 years ago, when Jane was a teacher, she got to bring students to the Great Lakes Theater to be coached. And the 1 year, a teenage Tom Hanks was their coach.
All my 110 students waited in the auditorium after the curtain closed, and Tom Hanks came out, and he came up and down and shook hands with my students and said, "I'm going to remember you guys forever."
Okay, she's calling him on it. Now, it turns out Jane forgot to sign up for that program that year, but the director of the theater had her back and brought them all in. Now, we'll keep you posted if Hanks actually replies.
Wouldn't that be a great follow-up story?
Would be. I would think that, that's something that sounds Tom Hanks-like.
Yeah, and I love the acting. I mean, it's over the top, but it's so tremendous.
Wilson!
Wilson! It's so good. All right, that's it. That's our show for today. We're out of time. Thanks for joining us, but we're back tomorrow at 5, and we hope to see you then.
3 News at 6 with Russ and Laura starts now.
Now at 6, dash cam details. State troopers released new video of a chase that ended in Lorain County, the same chase that killed a Bluffton police officer last week. Also, Ohio's version. It is